it's Marina, travel experta, and today we are going to be talking about Paredon Beach in Guatemala. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. Paredon is becoming the new hotspot for beaches when you come to Guatemala. Guatemala overall is not really known for their beaches. However, everybody wants to enjoy a tropical break on a volcanic black beach, and Paredon right now is definitely the hottest. We do have several others, Mantarico, Ixtapa, Puerto San Jose, but Paredon is really like the new place, although it's not that new. It's been around for quite some time. Paredon is also one of the more popular spots for surfing in Guatemala. Interestingly enough, Guatemala does have good surf, and with surfing overall as a sport being saturated and overpopulated in so many places all over the world, including Costa Rica, which is one of the most known places for surfing in Central America. Guatemala has become a pretty good hotspot with still a lot of surf and open, beautiful ocean to find the right wave without being overcrowded, without being, in that territorial weird situation. So let's talk about Paradon. And Paradon is not only for surfing. It's actually a really cute, sweet beach town that offers quite a lot. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. We started going to Paradon about 6, 7 years ago because obviously we live in Guatemala. We pretty much checked out all the other places. So we arrived to Paradon. At that point, there was only about one or two hotels. That's how tiny it was. And very little to do other than some of these hotels that pretty much had everything ready as part of the package. The place that we used to go to was the Surf House. And back then, the Surf House was literally one of the most popular and pretty much one of the only surf hotels, I should say, in the area. And then there was a couple of others that were more for the backpacker style, but obviously as a family, we wanted a little bit more comfort. And these hotels are right on the beach, what makes it that much more accessible and fun. And this particular hotel had a pool, and the way they had their food set up was breakfast was usually included. It is not anymore. And I'll tell you why, because of the overpopulation now that is happening. Overpopulation is still very mild, but in Paradon terms, it's definitely a booming place. So now a lot of the hotels that were there before are able to raise their prices and do a lot less benefits because there are so many hotels and Airbnbs now that they have to compete with. So it's really cool to find a hotel that is right on the beach, even though Paradon is this tiny little beach town with literally one paved road and all the others are sandy dirt roads. I would say that there are maybe, you have the main area which is on the beach, and it's still, we're talking like less than a kilometer of beachfront properties, and the majority of these hotels and Airbnbs are right on the beach. And then the hotels, they actually have the restaurants in there, so you could just enter right off the beach or from one of the roads. However, there are maybe one or two blocks in from the beach, right? Honestly, if you're going to go to Paradon, it's really worth staying on the beach. First and foremost, it's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Like, we're talking super hot. So if you're not right on the beach where there is a really good breeze and you could just kind of see the open, beautiful beach, even though a lot of times you cannot go into the water after a certain hour, the riptide gets really dangerous. And that's why you'll only see surfers pretty much in the mornings and in the afternoons. You'll still want to go and hang out even under the palm trees. A lot of these hotels and Airbnbs have hammocks right there. But if you are one or two blocks in, the heat is immense. So chances are you're probably going to be inside your hotel room or whatever it is in an air condition because it is that hot. Or if they have a pool, you're pretty much just going to be hanging out in the pool rather than coming for the beach. And if you're going to be hanging out in the pool, you can pretty much do that almost anywhere, right? So that is just something to think about. They do have all these cute little restaurants popping up all the time, and they are your typical tiny little beach town eateries, and they offer quite a lot. You could have Asian, Guatemalan, Italian, French. So it's constantly and ever transiently moving. I don't know if that's a word, but it's constantly changing because a lot of times people just come for 6 months, do a little pop up, serve really cool stuff, and then they move on because it is a very transient area. You will not find a lot of people that live there full time. As for activities, there are actually an interesting amount of activities. My absolute favorite is the stand-up paddleboard. It is a must do because there's this gorgeous estuary filled with mangroves, and it is one of the best tours that you could possibly do. I have an entire podcast about the stand-up paddleboarding tour, which is a must. And if you really want to know more about it, you are welcome to contact me and I'll introduce you to the person that has this. I have no affiliation with him, but I have to say we did this for my birthday, just our private tour, and it was like $60 for the four of us, including top-notch paddle boards, private. It was fantastic. So that is one of our favorite things to do. Obviously, surfing. You could go there if you're already a surfer, but if not, it's a great place to learn how to surf. And we used to go there a lot for my kids and my husband to take surfing classes because it was like $12 an hour private surf class. I mean, you can't beat that. Maybe today it's $15. You still can't beat that with a surfboard included. Otherwise, you could go and rent a surfboard probably for $15 for the entire day. You could also go and rent boogie boards. A lot of places have or come with a boogie board on your own. They also have horseback along the beach because the sunsets are magnificent. It does get crazy hot in the daytime, and especially because it is a volcanic beach, the sand gets extra hot. And that is something to take note. Paredon is incredibly pet friendly. Just remember, if you're going to be taking your dog, it's hot. You're wearing shoes. They're not. This is just a public service announcement. Think about your dogs, okay? Their feet will get burned because it is that hot. Okay, and like I said, it is a super pet friendly place. So if you do have a dog that you want to bring with you, definitely a place, but just have in mind, don't take them out in the hot sun. It's really hard. But then in the late afternoon, when the sun is setting, it's absolutely magnificent. And I recommend just enjoying the sunset because that's what you could go for. And then you could go swimming a little bit and surfing because remember, the riptide is quite strong in that area. So another thing that you could do is you could take a fishing tour. There are fishing tours, boats along the estuary. They're not like your big fishing types of boats, but very local kind of boats. And it's just really fun to go and do that. So Paredon, it's a really fun experience. It's about 2.5 hours, between 2.5, 3 hours, either if you're coming from Antigua or from Guatemala City. The roads are fantastic. It's really easy to get to. And you pretty much have everything that you'll need there. There's a bunch of little stores and whatnot. And again, like I said, the restaurants there are really great. Surprisingly great, which is something that I really recommend. So if you have extra time in Guatemala, a lot of times, obviously, if you're staying for long term, definitely recommend to go and hang out there for a couple of days, maybe even 3 or 4 days. If you are only visiting for about 7 to 10 days, which is the average amount of time people can visit Guatemala, I recommend to listen to my podcast on traveling to Guatemala to get a better idea how to really utilize your 7 to 10 days because the beach, Guatemala is not known for their beaches as some other countries, and they are known for some other really cool things that you don't want to miss while you're in Guatemala. And again, if you have any questions about cool ideas in Guatemala, I am happy to help you. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, please leave me a review and let me know, and share it with your friends and let me know if you have any questions. And remember to make every day an adventure.